Just looking at the solutions to the quiz for quadratic equations. First one is easily factorized, and it's a monic. So you get 4 and -3. The second one, we tried the factorization. I did try 2x and 2x first, but it wouldn't work. So I tried 3 and 2. That did not work. And I tried 6 and 1, and that was even worse. So that did not work. So then I went for 4x and x, and then I found a solution there. Now with the next one, you can only put your 2x and your x if you're doing crisscrosses, and 5 and 1. So you can either put the 5 down here, the 1 there, or the 5 up there and the 1 there. It's probably best to put it that way. It'll keep your numbers a bit lower. And the only combinations you could possibly get are a 7 and a 3. If you added them, you'd get a 7 after crisscrossing. And if you subtracted, you get some sort of 3. Either of those is not suitable. It cannot be factorized. So we have to go to the quadratic formula. All right? So remember, there are several ways of solving quadratic equations. One is by factorizing. Another one is by using the quadratic formula. And another way is to complete the square. Okay? I would always use the quadratic formula before I complete the square. Okay? Be careful, your b is -1 here, so it's -1. Completing the square, you've got that. What should you do next? Solving 2x squared plus 6x minus 1, it's not monic. You want to move the 1 over first. And then I would factorize 2 bracket x squared plus 3x. Now just keep that 2 there. Look, in some books they say take that 2 over to the other side now if you want. But if you keep it there, it's okay, but you just got to be very careful. Definitely is, especially if you're solving an equation, divide by 2, so you're solving x squared plus 3x is a half. Now, we complete the square on this left-hand side and add the same thing to both sides. Half of 3 is 2. So we're adding 3 on 2 squared to both sides. So now on the left-hand side, this becomes x plus 3 on 2 all squared equals, and what's this? A half plus, what's that? 9 on 4. Now write this one over 4. We can do this as a common denominator. That's 2 on 4. Isn't that 11 on 4? Okay, now we square root both sides. And what do you get? All right, let's go. Sorry. Okay, now we square root both sides. X plus 3 on 2 is plus or minus the square root of 11 over 4. Well, the root 11 over root 4 is 2, so we've actually got the same denominator. So it's -3 plus or minus, the square root of 11 all over 2. So really, this is really important. I think before, when we had coefficients of the x, we had them in the format of y equals. I don't think I did one with an equation. So when it's an equation, really, it's much easier to take that half over, much, much easier. Otherwise, when you complete the square and you add to the other side, if I kept the 2 here, I'd have to do 2 times this one. And I think that's more confusing. Because if you move the 2 over, it just becomes a number. It's a half. And you're just adding plus 3 on 2 squared to both sides. And there's no confusion. The same equation, but let's say I completed the square and it's in the y equals format. Then you go y equals 2 bracket x squared plus 6x and keep this minus 1 over here. Now what I could do is take that minus 1 to the other side at the moment to keep it away and then bring it back at the end if I want. Or I go like this. I need to complete the square on this, but I've got to keep the 2 there. So I go x squared plus, now 6x plus, wrong. Sorry, girls, that's a 3. X squared plus 3x. So I add 3 on 2 squared minus 3 on 2 squared to the same side, but it all has to stay inside those big square brackets. And then minus 1. So this has got nothing, the minus 1's got nothing to do with it. So this is if you're doing it on the same side, which is y equals 2 bracket. Now these three terms form the perfect square. X plus 3 on 2 squared. Minus, this is still in the bracket. That's minus 9 on 4, still in the bracket. Wait, I'm not finished. So now I expand the bracket. 2 bracket x plus 3 on 2 squared minus 2 times that is minus 18 on 4. And then I've just got minus 1 there. So then I've got 2 bracket x plus 3 on 2 squared minus 9 on 2 minus 1. Minus 4.5 minus 1, that's minus 5.5, which is minus 11 on 2. Else you could do this.